Just 2 years ago this week, we were treated to the wedding of the decade. Millions around the world tuned in as the bells rang out for Harry and Meghan, the modern face of the royal family. Today, the vintage champagne has gone flat, the bells have long stopped ringing, and the couple have turned their backs on Britain, opting to live among the shallow royalty of Hollywood rather than the real thing. The Sussexes' long goodbye has cost the House of Windsor much and damaged reputation. But that is nothing compared to the financial cost to the British public. As a former government minister and the author of "And What Do You Do?", a close study of the royal family's finances, this is an area that I have spent a long time analyzing. From their wedding day to March 31 this year, I estimate the British taxpayer has forked out more than £44 million to provide Harry and Meghan with, it seems, whatever they want. The true figure may in fact be higher, though the opacity of many aspects of royal finances makes sourcing precise figures difficult. We were promised that public funding for the pair would end after March 31, when they officially stepped back from royal life. But things are not that simple. Even though they have left our shores, there's still a hefty bill to be paid. Here's where the millions have gone, and are still going. The newlyweds began married life in Nottingham Cottage, a cozy Victorian house in the grounds of Kensington Palace. It was widely assumed that they would move into the much larger apartment one nearby after it was refurbished. The year-long works to the 21-room apartment one are reported to have cost the taxpayer £1.4 million for repairs on the roof and replacing all the windows. It is likely that this work would have been done even if Harry and Meghan had not moved there. Yet when it was finished, the couple reportedly decided they didn't want to move there after all. The supposed reason? It was too close to William and Kate, with whom Meghan was said not to get on. There was even an adjoining door to the Cambridges' swanky apartment. The Queen therefore granted Harry and Meghan the use of Frogmore Cottage within the Windsor Castle estate. Of course, it is not a cottage at all, but a sprawling listed building, pictured right, dating from 1801. As the Mail reported last June, the renovations needed to turn it into a family home came in at £2.4 million. To ready Frogmore, 5 apartments previously used by royal staff were turned into a single dwelling, a huge change to a listed building and the sort to which Windsor and Maidenhead Borough Council might normally be expected to object. The couple moved to Frogmore in the early summer of 2019 but stayed less than 6 months. Instead, they headed for Canada where they holed up in a £10.4 million mansion on Vancouver Island, owned by an as yet unnamed billionaire. Now they are installed in a £14 million mansion in an exclusive gated community in Beverly Ridge, Los Angeles, owned by music tycoon Tyler Perry, whom Meghan reportedly met through chat show host Oprah Winfrey. The couple have said they will repay the renovation costs for Frogmore Cottage. They have offered £18,000 a month, which is also meant to cover rent. Assuming a rent of £10,000 a month, it will take them 25 years to repay the renovation costs, and that is without interest or any ongoing maintenance. Yet between them they have a fortune of many millions. Harry received half of an inheritance of £21 million from his mother, an estimated £6 million after tax. When vested by experts over 23 years, this is likely to have at the very least doubled. The Duke is also widely reported to have inherited a further £7 million from the Queen Mother in 2002, conservatively giving him an estimated fortune of £19 million before we count his £2.3 million annually from Prince Charles. Meghan's acting career, meanwhile, brought her estimated earnings of between £2 million and £5 million. The couple could repay the entire amount in one go now, if they chose to. Meanwhile, they have been enjoying the finer things in life. In August last year, to celebrate Meghan's birthday, they spent a week at an exclusive Ibiza villa where the going rate for 7 days is £100,000, though this may have been a gift. Since the wedding, Meghan is also said to have amassed a £600,000 jewelry collection, including items gifted to her by Harry and the Queen, a collection larger than the late Princess Diana's, including a stunning new diamond ring. By last June her collection was said to have grown to 91 pieces. Staff. Harry and Meghan have not held back when it comes to employing their retinue of staff, but then, they haven't been paying for all of them. Until March 31st, when they ceased to be working royals, the team of up to 15 included a private secretary, who can earn a salary of £146,000 a year, PR Director Sir Latham, and a full team of servants including a housekeeper, £30,000, and a nanny. The sovereign grant will have paid for their office staff, while the nanny will have been salaried from their private funds. London super nannies who work for the capital's richest and most powerful families earn an average of £104,000, according to industry sources. Most of their staff were no longer required when the couple moved to Canada, so there may well have also been redundancy payments as well for those not redeployed to other roles in the royal household. And of course the move to Canada generated a need for a whole new team, including PR firms, household staff and lawyers, though the UK taxpayer is not believed to have been liable for those. I have been unable to quantify precise figures, so these figures may be an underestimate. Private secretary, £146,000. Other staff, including an assistant private secretary, a communications secretary, an assistant communications secretary, £150,000. Estimated staff costs to the taxpayer over 2 years, £592,000. Security. The cost of providing protection for the Sussexes rocketed after their wedding, thanks in part to their fondness for globetrotting. In February 2019, Meghan flew to New York for a baby shower widely estimated to have cost several £100,000, although she disputes the figure. In August last year, they spent a weekend with George and Amal Clooney at their luxury Lake Como villa, and they have also spent time at Elton John's villa in the south of France. While many of the flights taken by the couple in a private capacity were paid for by celebrity friends, they were always accompanied by protection officers funded by the taxpayer. The bill for this, including business-class travel for the officers, as confirmed by former Royal Protection Officer Ken Worf, and any overtime and away-from-home allowances, has fallen to the public. The couple's several house moves have also pushed up the costs to the public. It is much more expensive to provide bespoke security in an exposed location outside London, such as Frogmore Cottage, than it is in Kensington Palace. Security cover abroad, of course, is the most expensive of all. While the couple briefly lived at Frogmore, a full security entourage, including motorcycle outriders anytime Harry wanted to get to London, would likely have been deployed. This is a requirement that would not have applied had they stayed at Kensington Palace. As the couple are keeping Frogmore Cottage as their base in this country, a security detail is believed to remain in place there even though it is unoccupied, and there is no sign of the couple coming back anytime soon. As I wrote in my recent book, Ken Worf has estimated that this latter element alone could amount to some £5 million annually, for security officers to patrol the extensive premises, though this will depend on the level of security provided, for example the number of officers and patrols. The bill for the ongoing security falls to Thames Valley Police, a force which has seen large cuts to its budget since 2010. When the Sussexes moved to Canada, protection officers from the Metropolitan Police had to go as well to work alongside the Mounties, incurring a bill for both British and Canadian taxpayers. Moreover, as the holders of HRH status despite no longer being working royals, Harry and Meghan remain entitled to protection. So if the three of them and their family are in 3 separate places, as was sometimes the case before their move to LA, that required 3 separate police protection teams. In Canada, their security team was reportedly placed in a luxury £1,100 a week Airbnb house. Canada made it clear it would not pay for protection after March 31, and as the Sussexes landed in the United States, Donald Trump tweeted to say the US was not paying either. In the deal reached with the palace, Harry and Meghan have kept their HRH titles but will not use them. This is significant as the status provides a mechanism for support, notably financial support from the taxpayer for security, to be provided to them. Harry and Meghan appear to have finally accepted that they will have to pay towards their own security, at least for private and commercial trips where there is no royal connection. It has been speculated that if full cover had been provided round the year in Canada, the costs, including Frogmore, could have reached £20 million annually. However, I have merely counted security at Frogmore for nearly a year at £4.5 million, plus almost 2 years of other protection, at £1.25 million a year. This is a very conservative estimate, especially bearing in mind the Canadian cover. Less than 1 year's security at Frogmore, £4.5 million. Almost 2 years of other protection, £2.5 million. Total estimated security costs, £7 million. The Bank of Dad. Since the wedding, Prince Charles has been widely reported to be funding Harry to the tune of £2.3 million a year and is expected to continue to do so for at least a year. As I wrote in my book, this came from the profits from the Duchy of Cornwall, established in the 14th century to provide an income stream for the heir to the throne. Prince Harry has no connection to the duchy and some might therefore see it as an entirely inappropriate use of duchy money. While William is likely to inherit the title one day, Harry never will. Controversially, Charles is allowed to classify this allowance to Harry as a business expense, which he can set against tax. This means that the public purse continued to support Harry for as long as Charles continued with this approach to funding the Duke. Charles is thought to have decided, since the Sussexes stopped undertaking royal duties, to meet the £2.3 million from his own private funds, at least in the immediate term. Assuming an allowance of £2.3 million a year, that comes to £4.3 million for the period from the wedding to March 31, 2020. At a 45% tax rate for Charles, the total tax saving, and thus indirect cost to the public, is £1.9 million. Total estimated cost to the public from loss of tax income, £1.9 million. Jet-setting eco-warriors. Harry once gained brownie points for taking an EasyJet flight back in 2011 from London to Edinburgh for Zara Tindall's wedding. But those days are long gone. Since then, Harry has developed a taste for private jets and helicopters, sometimes while he is on his way to deliver a speech about the threat from climate change. In March 2019, he took a helicopter journey costing an estimated £5,000 from London to Birmingham and 2 days later told a crowd at Wembley Stadium to wake up and act on the damaging impact our ways are having on the world. Last August, the Duke racked up 4 flights in private jets in 11 days, for which he was heavily criticized. Elton John, who paid for one of these trips, issued a strongly worded statement in his defense. Perhaps the pop star should now be singing about Harry and the jets. In 2018-19 the couple flew to Australia and Singapore at a cost of £81,002, as well as a trip to Norway which cost £22,880. Given Harry and Meghan's hitherto high-profile status with the royal family, I have estimated £400,000 each for their travel in the 2 years of their marriage, with a slight increase to take account of trips to travel to and from Canada. Total estimated travel bill, £1 million. Of the £33.5 million, the royals reportedly contributed only about £2 million, leaving the taxpayer to pick up 94% of the cost. The vast majority of this went on security, estimated at £30 million by Bride Book. The hard-pressed Ministry of Defence reportedly blew a reported £90,000 on 20 brand-new, silver-plated trumpets for the bash. The manufacturer said the request was for a bit more bling and more silver rings on these instruments. The DCMS's bill of £1.5 million covered items including a £232,810 PA system, £128,714 for private contractors and £14,081 for flags and banners. The taxpayers of Windsor and Maidenhead saw their council splurge more than £1 million on crowd control barriers, big screens, stewarding and waste disposal. Of the £2 million spent by the royals, much of it went on clothes. Meghan's wedding dress, her second, a creation of Claire Wade Keller, came in at a reported £390,000. That makes the dress worn by Kate for her 2011 wedding look a bargain at its estimated £250,000. Total estimated bill for the taxpayer, £31.5 million.